Monster Comics. Perfect Spot Tattoo. And our new sponsor, Humble Reaper. All proud sponsors of the Movie Dawgs.
And welcome to a new episode of the Movie Dawgs Show. We are still doing our We Are the 80s specials. And what says more about the 1980s than Top Gun? The highest grossing film of 1986. It catapulted Tom Cruise to astronomical stardom. Also co-starred Kelly McGillis, Tom Skerritt, Michael Ironside, Anthony Edwards, and, of course, the Iceman himself, Val Kilmer. This is one of the best films that came out of the 1980s. Came out of literally nowhere. Produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and then his now late producer partner from Paramount, Don Simpson. Those guys were responsible for a lot of great hits back in the 80s. Beverly Hills Cop is another franchise that, they really took and made into an amazing success. But Top Gun, man, this was a cultural phenomenon from 1986. I mean, there was a lot of great movies that came out in 86. And Paramount had a big year when it came to their box office run. But, man, this movie just, on top of an amazing action film, it had drama, it had romance, it had everything that you would want for men and women, even kids, when it came to this film. I just was floored when I saw it in theaters. And, of course, the soundtrack, which we'll get into, it itself is stuff of legends now, too. It's its own little entity or island when you talk about the Top Gun soundtrack. I mean, but everything about this film, it was originated from a article from a California magazine. I think it's called The California. But from that small little article, Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer were able to get some great writers to jump in and craft a very tight knit script. Of course, some liberties are here and there been taken up. It was written by Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr., and it was directed by Tony Scott. Tony Scott, gave this man a career. Tony Scott would work with Jerry Bruckheimer for many years in the 90s, have some great films under his repertoire. He's the brother to Ridley Scott. Sadly, he's passed away about 10 years ago, I think now. But again, this catapulted Tom Cruise to what he is now. I mean, he put himself into this role. He wanted to learn everything he possibly can learn about naval aviation. And that's my best I would call it. I've had family members in the Navy, so I need to differentiate an Air Force pilot from a Navy aviator. But this was, really, it put a lot of people it made a lot of people want to go into the Navy that necessarily should not be flying. They found themselves in a Navy, but not flying around like Tom Cruise or Val Kilmer. But again, it did help out a lot of, recruitments. But again, we really just the tip of the iceberg. Kelly McGillis and Tom Cruise's chemistry. I don't know what it was back behind the scenes, but it was amazing. The chemistry. You knew that these people don't really need to be together, but they want to be because they have passion for each other, and you love it. And it's hot romance. It's almost basically a cheesy romance novel that you see Fabio on the cover. Anthony Edwards and Tom Cruise's chemistry together was amazing. You felt like they've been friends for years. And of course, when you see everybody's commodity, you'll see a lot of character actors in this movie too that you will notice over the years in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s that pop up in this movie. But everybody kind of had it was a great ensemble. And then, of course, you had that ensemble kind of led by Val Kilmer. Because Tom Cruise was a little bit on his own, and then there was him and Anthony Edwards. But when it came to the supporting cast, which there was great. Tom Skerritt was great. Michael Ironside could never do no wrong. But Val Kilmer really, I think he should deserve an Oscar nomination for this movie. And rightfully so. I think he did this part so well. He made it feel like he belonged in the Navy. And then, of course, he got to reprise that role. And sadly, cancer took his voice. But he got to reprise the role in Top Gun Maverick. And I highly recommend that film. But the soundtrack, oh gosh. You had Cheap Trick with Mighty Wings. You had Kenny Loggins, who did every album soundtrack in the 80s. Did 2 songs, Danger Zone and For the Boys. And then Berlin's song that went off the charts with Take My Breath Away, which was the theme for Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis' characters. And then, of course, that Love and Feeling, which was not on the official soundtrack, but it was in the movie, was the icon for this film. And it brought back the Everly Brothers, into popularity and brought that song back onto the top. So, oh, God. I can't say so much about this movie. It's just everything was just great. I've got the soundtrack on vinyl and on CD still to this day. But again, I can watch this movie over and over again. And I highly recommend people do that. Again, check this film out. It's always going to get a retro 5 stars from me, or 5 paws. And again, check it out. Again, this movie is just they couldn't even make a sequel because they used all the footage that they did. Because this is one of the first times that the Navy, the U.S. military, allowed, to be filmed, and they had a lot of advisors on this project. So, again, check this film out again, over and over again, and even check out the sequel. So, but again, I want to thank my sponsors that you saw them at the top of the program. Again, I'm going to make these short and sweet and everything. Check out Top Gun, 1986, the original classic, and then go and check out Top Gun Maverick. That was a great film, a great legacy sequel is what they're calling them now. So check it out. All right, folks, hit that thumbs up. What's your favorite moment of Top Gun? List it down on the comment section below, and give me your thoughts on this new film, too. All right, we got a double header this month. I'll be doing Escape from New York at the end of this month here on the Movie Dawgs Show for We Are the 80s. So check us out then. Check us out on all social media outlets that you possibly can find. And, again, folks, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, we need to get those numbers up. Again, folks, thanks for watching. Please keep on watching. And also, you can check out the audio version of this on Spotify. All right, folks, that's the Movie Dawgs Show. Bye.